Hi, my name is Andrew Taylor, and I'm a specialist in program evaluation and community impact. And these three videos that you're about to see have been created with the support of the Region of Peel and United Way of Peel region as resources for you to use as you work on demonstrating the difference your program makes. They're three real short videos, and they're each dealing with something that I found to be a point that people often get stuck on when they're trying to develop a plan to show how they make a difference, and I hope you find them useful. People often say if you aim at nothing, you're really likely to hit it. And that's true when it comes to program evaluation as much as it is in life in general. If you haven't got a clear understanding of the kind of change you want out of your program, it's very unlikely that you're going to be able to demonstrate that you've achieved any kind of change. And I think that's an important thing for people who work in social services to get good at. I think most of us are trained to talk about our work more in terms of how busy we are or how important the issue is that we're working on. And we're not trained as much to talk about the so what, the why it made a difference, who's better off as a result of our work. But getting good at that is important for reasons even beyond measurement. Getting good at that is the way that we translate the work that we do into terms that people who are not familiar with us can understand. That's the way we answer the question, why should I care? So what? How does that relate to me? If we can express our work in terms of the change that it makes in people's lives, we're going to be better at communicating, we're going to be better at fundraising, we're going to be better at grant writing, as well as program evaluation and measurement. So in this video, what I'm going to do is give you three simple tips for getting good at explaining the change your program contributes to, or the change your program makes. Tip number one is understanding the difference between a population result and a program result. Now, a population result is a big, important statement about an issue in the community that we all think is important. We want to reduce poverty. We want to reduce violence. We want our kids to grow up healthy and strong. These are big statements about change that we all want to work towards. A program result, on the other hand, is a statement about how my little program makes a difference in the lives of the particular people that I serve. Something very small, very specific, very tied to what I do. So this table kind of reviews the differences between the two. A population result deals with large-scale change in an entire population or a very large group of people. It tends to be important. It tends to be something that ordinary people relate to, that they see as necessary, that they see as worthwhile. But it tends to name a change that no one program can achieve. It tends to name a change that only can happen when lots of different people working on different kinds of things work together. It's a large change that requires complex, interaction among a number of different groups in order for change to really happen. And for that reason, population results tend to change very slowly. Program results, on the other hand, are changes that are specific to the people served by your program. They are things that are largely within your control, so things you would feel comfortable claiming responsibility for. I don't know for sure that you're going to get out of poverty as a result of participating in our program, but I can promise you that if you follow through with our program, you will know more about the services that are available to you, or you will be able to apply for social assistance or something like that. Those are program results. They tend to be smaller, more incremental, less impressive, but they also tend to be things that change more quickly and things that are easier to measure. So understanding this difference between program results and population results is really important, and it really underlies a lot of the confusion that people have when it comes to measurement. Quite often people will say to me, Andrew, I understand the importance of measuring outcomes, but the outcomes that we're working on change real slowly, so it's tough for us to measure them. Or they might say, Andrew, there's so many complex things going on, I can't explain all of them to you, so it's tough for me to kind of do a measurement that would demonstrate all the different factors that affect somebody's life. And I think those statements are based on the presumption that what you're trying to do when you measure is you're trying to show the connection between your program and population change. If you kind of unpack the population change, if you say to yourself, okay, that's a big problem, we're not taking on the whole thing, we're just unpacking it into a little piece of it where we think we can make a contribution, oftentimes that reduces the feeling that it's going to be tough for us to measure that. So tip number 1, remember that distinction between population results and program results. Tip number 2 is to understand the difference between program results and outputs. You know, an output is a statement about how much work we've done, you know, how many people have come to our program, you know, how many sessions we've held, that kind of thing. Whereas a program result is a statement about how people's lives have changed as a result of the work that we do. And understanding that distinction is really helpful, and I think it gets confusing for people because if you work in a certain field, if you know things about that field that a layperson doesn't know, quite often you can look at outputs, you can look at how many people are coming and who those people are and how often they're coming, and you know what they mean. You know that those outputs mean that change is happening. But a layperson, an outsider, doesn't. And you need to be able to gather information that takes them that next step, that shows them not only did they come, but they really did learn something. They really did make a new friend. They really did, you know, stop some kind of an unhealthy behavior, those types of things. So understanding the difference between outputs and program outcomes is my second tip. The third tip, and this is a real simple one, is to choose a small number of program results to focus on in the measurement work that you're doing. People are often tempted to choose too many, I think because they want to show the full spectrum of the ways in which their program can help people. If you imagine a grade 1 teacher might say, my program results are numerous. You know, I help to detect developmental delays when children are still young. I try to help diagnose potential cases of child abuse. I inspire people to take up a love of art. I try to help people make friends, all of those things. And I would imagine from time to time those are all true in a grade 1 classroom. Those are changes that a teacher sometimes makes. But what is a grade 1 classroom for? A grade 1 classroom is there to get kids to a point where they can read and get kids to a point where they can sit in a desk all day. Those are the core things that a grade 1 classroom is for. All those other outcomes are nice, and they do happen, but they're not the core business of what goes on every single day, Monday to Friday, in a grade 1 classroom. So as much as those things are nice to talk about, they wouldn't be what a grade 1 teacher would measure. The things a grade 1 teacher would measure would be reading and behavior in the classroom. And I think the same is true for your program. Focus in on a small number of program outcomes that are really at the core of what you do. So that's it. 3 simple tips. Difference between population and program results, the difference between program results and outputs, and pick a small number of program results. Hope that's helpful.